and your affiliation with the Gridiron Greats, your perspective on just sort of the damaging impact that the game itself has on players, and then just sort of the lack of attention that the NFLPA seems to give to that. I mean, coming from a former player, a former coach, you've been affiliated with the NFL since the 60s, and what have you seen? How is it? I mean, what do you think is the fundamental problem? Like, what are they not seeing, or what are they ignoring?
The nature of the game is a brutal sport.
Yes.
So the nature of the game, people are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Now, how do you take care of the people who get hurt? Now, what they're doing now is terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, they're holding people out who have concussions. They're doing a lot of things a lot better than they did in the old days. So you're talking, when you go through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, those guys went back and played. They played with the injuries, and as a result, they have lifelong injuries because of it, and they're in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
This is basically what's happened with all these guys. And it's not going to get any better. You look at, take this season alone. You look at the number of guys who are out for the season already. Now, we're halfway through it now.
Yeah.
Okay, does that mean they're out for the year? For their life? I don't know.
Right.
But what are those injuries? Are they career ending? They're not. Are they going to be disabling? I don't know what they're going to be. But I'm just saying, unless the league figures a way to fix this, where they can let some of these guys carry medical forward after they get out of football, you're going to have problems. You're always going to have problems. I don't care how much money you make.
Yeah.
If you have to fork out $100,000 or so for a couple of back surgeries, you're not going to have very much money very long.
Exactly. Regarding that, do you think that there's a lot more the NFL Players Association could be doing? In the film, you mentioned the strike fund.
Well, the first thing they could do is open their eyes.
Yeah.
And realize the problem is there. The guys who help make this league what it is are the guys who played all the way back to they're still alive. But I'm talking about 60s, 70s, 80s. They're made where these guys can make the kind of money that they're making, have the kind of success. Just recognize and understand this. And if they need help, find a way to generate some funds toward them to help them. There's plenty of money to go around. It's also the responsibility not only of the players, but of the owners.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to give you this kick while we're part of a family when you join an organization. Well, you're not part of the family anymore when you're out?
Yeah.
Come on. Like I said, there's enough money going around. Everybody can benefit from this. I mean, it's just silly.
The family metaphor really runs out once you're retired, and I mean, if you're a retired family member, you're not just shoved out on the street.
Exactly. Well, it's different. They say you're a family, but you're not a family.
Yeah.
And there's no loyalty. Believe me, there's no loyalty. I don't care if you played for 15 years for them or not. There's no loyalty. And that's what I see. I think that's wrong. That's all. I'm saying, hey, if we got a great sport, I realize you can't take care of everybody, but there's not that many guys out there that need the help.
No.
That's the problem. You only got maybe 100, 200 at the most. It's not like you got 25,000.
In the documentary, it really focuses on two specific guys, John Mackey and then also Mike Webster, and both of those guys have very, very tragic trajectories post-career. Mackey, of course, suffering from dementia, and Webster, suffering from dementia and then passing away as a direct result of that. And
these are guys who what happened back then? Mike Webster was Iron Mike.
Yeah. Iron Mike too.
He wasn't coming out of the game.
No, he was always in,
right.
taking snap after snap, no matter what.
John Mackey, I watched John's deterioration firsthand. We used to come to all my golf tournaments for the Hall of Fame, and I see him at the Hall of Fame, and little by little, I watched this thing go downhill.
Yeah.
I watch it with Pete Pihos. I watch it with Ringo. A lot of those guys. Willie Woods in a nursing home.
He's also featured as well. Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys. It's a shame.
Yep.
And I understand the league says, well, they come back and say, well, we have a vehicle now to help these people. Well, wasn't it in place?
It's a very small vehicle, and it's only been in place. How long has it been in place for? Since '93? Not even that.
I'm not sure even that long.
Yeah.
But the 88 plan is something that, I don't know what you have to go through to get it, but
the 88 plan is the one that was set up by Mackey's wife.
For Mackey, for dementia.
Yep.
The people with dementia, and there's enough of those too. So that's 88,000 a year. That'll keep you probably.
How long, or dementia is definitely a long-term diagnosis.
You're never going to get better.
Right.
So it's a lifetime thing.
As a former player, I mean, you were in this brutal era of the NFL, right? I mean, in the 60s, it was very rough. And, I mean, padding was thinner, helmets were thinner.
The helmets were different.
Yeah.
They weren't the same helmets as today. That's part of it. There were a lot of concussions. People asked me that I had somebody ask me yesterday, did I ever get a concussion? Of course I got a concussion.
Yeah.
How bad was it? Well, I don't know how bad it was, but I went back and played, and I don't remember anything that happened in the second half of the game. I don't remember anything. When I looked at the film on Tuesday, I don't remember any. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
Now, that's me. Now, will that come back to haunt me? I don't know. It probably has already a little bit, but that's beside the point. But everybody did that. Everybody that got knocked out went back in the game. And why? Because, first of all, the teams couldn't afford not to have you playing.
No.
They couldn't afford to have you sitting there.
The rosters were smaller.
Exactly.
Players were taking more and more snaps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And plus the doctors were on the payroll. They were on the payroll, basically.
To an extent, the doctors are still on the payroll at this point.
And that's wrong, too.
Yeah.
Because everything should be done through an independent group of people. Now, this kid like Westbrook, he went and got an expert.
Yeah.
But they should be independent. They should have no allegiance or ties to the NFL or responsibility back to the NFL. Hey, here's what's best for this kid. He shouldn't play football anymore.
Exactly.
Or he shouldn't play football the rest of this year. And that's what you got to say.
Earlier in the college football season, Tim Tebow suffered a pretty severe concussion. Do you think that, I mean, the sport itself is brutal. Do you think that there are any preventative measures that at any point the NFL, the NCAA, or high school organizations could take to, I mean, there's nothing really you can do except improve the safety technology, is there?
There's nothing you can do. Football, from the day you're a kid, if you're playing defense, you're told to go get the quarterback.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you become a pro ball player. Well, you can go get it, but don't get him too, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
So, you got to be careful you don't legislate football out of football because people won't like it.
Exactly.
I watched play.
People aren't paying to see flag football.
Brady Quinn hit the guy on a chop block, and they called a penalty on him. That wasn't a penalty.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? Defend himself against a big line? How's he going to do it any other way?
He won't.
It doesn't make any sense. But that's what they're doing. I mean, and people are going to get hurt in the game. I don't care what you say. You got big bodies moving at a high rate of speed.
Yep.
And you can build all the muscle you want to. You can't change ligaments and tendons. They're going to give. Now, you got a quarterback in Pittsburgh that's 6'5", 255 pounds. That's bigger than any lineman we had when I played.
Yeah.
Any lineman we had on offense. So that's the difference right there.
What do you think on a different angle? What do you think of the Bears this year? How do you think Lovey's handling a lot of turmoil? Do you think they can do anything to fix the offensive line?
Not this year, they can't. It comes down to personnel. When you make bad personnel decisions, you got to face the consequences.
Yeah.
I have one saying: you can't win the Derby with a donkey, and that's just the way it is. You can look at it any way you want to. And some of these guys, they've been grossly
overpaid,
overestimated what their talents are. I mean, they've been overrated. Whose fault is that? It's not the coach's fault.
No.
It's the people who are bringing the people in there. It's the general manager or the player personnel department.
Yeah.
They're not doing the job they should be doing. They're not providing the right groceries to cook the meal.
Yeah, exactly. Jay Cutler, do you think the trade itself, has it panned out thus far? He's doing what he can behind a pretty soft O-line.
He's making a lot of mistakes. You can't turn the football over.
He's got 17 INTs. Yeah.
I don't care how much pressure under.
Just throw the ball away or take the sack.
Right.
Yeah.
Take a sack, incompletions, punt it away. And when you turn it over, and they turned it over last week, 3 times in the red zone?
Yeah.
Supposing they kick 3 field goals, they win that game.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
It's simple.
No question.
You got to give Robbie Gould a chance, to do his work. So don't turn the football over, especially when you get in the red zone.